Mondays at Mirai.
I want to call this Mondays at Mirai episode 2 Tuesday.
Beautiful. Have a seat at your table.
I don't have any pencil.
Do I need to sharpen it? Here, bring it here. Distance learning. Freaking life. This is what all my years of training in Japan have led me to be able to do. Masterfully sharpen a pencil with a razor blade.
Can you talk us through this process?
Well, see, you have these flat planes that exist on this pencil that give you the perfect guidepost to use your razor blade to follow. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Whew. Uh-huh. This is the magic that I went to Japan to learn, was how to do this. I bestow upon you Excalibur. Does that look like a minus?
Yes.
I think a minus is one line. Is there one line or 2 lines? The way that you get through all of this is just keep drinking this. That's what I've found.
A little more fresh than last week or not?
No, actually this is even older. This is like 5 days old. It doesn't even matter now.
Yeah.
So basically we had juniper 3s in here. It was a very juniper weekend, which was awesome. We love junipers. Actually, if I'm just being really honest, I have completely fallen out of love with junipers to the degree that it's actually hard for me to work on them. 10 years of junipers at Mirai, they are a lot of work. They are relatively beautiful, but I'm gonna say they're a little bit of a prima donna in bonsai. And at some point it's just like, you know, I'm just gonna go back to my roots, work on pines, spruce, and that's been the focus for like the past 2 years. So consequently, okay, that's where'd you get?
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, that's outstanding.
So now I've got all these junipers, right? Some of the best junipers in the world, honestly. People might be like, oh, you're so arrogant. No, I didn't make them, right? I didn't grow them for 1,000 years and turn them into, North American junipers are very spectacular. So I'm trying to find my relationship with junipers again. And having really cool classes helps me do that because people come here to study junipers, they're hyped on junipers, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, junipers are pretty cool again. So I'm slipping back into juniper mode and I need to finish adjusting all of the work from the weekend, but I'm gonna videotape it so that I can give critical feedback. And for whatever reason, each class tends to bring a lot of stuff and leave it here. And then I've gotta purge all of this stuff because I really am a minimalist at heart. Okay, beautiful, love it. Where's the magic sauce? And it's raining. Sunrise this morning, best I've ever seen, period. Best I've ever seen in 10 years at Mirai. So bittersweet because that sunrise being bright red, like bright red, fuchsia, marked the onset of rain, which is gonna knock off all of the leaves, which is going to officially spell the end of fall. And we are entering the long haul of winter at this point in time. But there's like a coziness, especially trying to re-engage with junipers, where I need to have a lot of peace and quiet and calm to sit down and go through the arduous hours of work to revamp some of these massive junipers. It's a lot of wire work. It helps that it's gonna be rainy and monochromatic around here and quiet because I can do that work. Okay, that's it. That's it, we're done. Dude, you crushed! You crushed! Let's make magic together. Let's make sweet harmony.
Is that your own song, or is that an actual song?
No, I think that's a song, isn't it?
Oh, maybe.
When we're working on raw trees, we typically try, or we think that our goal is to get it to look like the finished piece. And you want it to look nice, like the goal is to have it look nice. But the thing about this is never gonna be a finished piece. This has to be raw. And raw means when we lay it out flat, but when we lay it out, we also occupy as much space as possible with the minimal amount of foliage that we have. So instead of pulling it all in to try and form a finished pad, you need to spread it out, make it photosynthetically efficient, and let all of those branches determine their fate in the role of the design. We don't necessarily want to have these rigid lines in an initial styling. That sets you up for failure. It doesn't open up the opportunity to have that natural differentiation inside of a singular pad. Where these are being dropped down, I'm seeing all of the guts of the branch. I'm going to bring these up. I'm going to allow that level to exist. See the copper wire? We can't throw it away. It's going to go towards your collegiate fund. Yeah, yep. That's how we're paying for school. Over the course of the next 11 years, we're going to clean up all of the cut copper wire, and that's how we're affording college. Because you and I both know Bonsai isn't going to cover your college education.
But I have money for college too.
It's going to take more than 50 bucks in quarters. And you need to put it in the copper bucket.
Where's the copper bucket?
The copper bucket is right here. This is the part of doing bonsai that nobody gets to see. Everybody romanticizes being a bonsai professional and working on the cutting edge material all day long. That's not what it looks like. It looks like picking up strands of raffia that everybody left on the floor and bundling them up so that you don't waste it. This is what being a bonsai professional is all about.
No, it's not.
Hey Taft, do you want to follow in your father's footsteps? And no?
I'm gonna be a pizza maker.
Oh, that's right. You're gonna like make a pizza, have a pizza shop?
Yeah.
You know what they say, right?
Yep.
What do they say? Did you say with great power comes great responsibility?
No, hard work comes great responsibility.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I was going to say if something's worth doing, it's worth doing right. But I like where your head is at.
That's all of it. That's all of it.
What's it like living the dream, Ryan?
Yeah, cleaning up after people and, you know, just in general, trying to carve out 5 minutes to do bonsai every day. It's amazing. I couldn't have dreamed of anything more, no. So like when I was an apprentice and I started my apprenticeship, I was the youngest of 6. And I had to get to Mr. Kimura's at like 6:30 in the morning because you have to wipe down the whole workshop, organize everybody's workspace, sweep up all of the branches and foliage and clean the garden before anybody else gets there. And I thought, as I got to be an older and older apprentice, I thought, I'm never gonna have to do this again. And then owning your own bonsai operation, it's like, wow, I'm a first-year apprentice forever. That's pretty much what I've recognized. You know, cleaning up the workshop it starts you off in the right way. This is Mondays at Mirai on Tuesday because I took Monday off, which never happens, but I needed a day off. But every Monday, Troy and I basically spend the first half of the morning cleaning up the workshop and reorganizing our lives so that we can come back and destroy it within, 20 to 30 minutes. Teams at home, we've been doing some really exciting projects that people will see at some point, we just don't know when. But when they see them, you'll recognize why. We kind of have kept a lid on it. And then I think there is some documentary work to be done on Thursday here. We have classes this weekend. I'm headed to the Bristlecones next week to do a piece of work, which is exciting. We have a new filmmaker starting next week on Monday, so we're frantically getting ready for that. I'm doing a lot of writing right now, which I'm not good at, but is necessary for the current phase of Mirai. Yeah, just full steam ahead, plowing through 2020, trying to survive, stay alive, and move forward.
What's your plan for the week?
Well, actually, I may just watch movies all weekend, but I don't think I am. I think I might visit Gil's house.
Huh?
And
It's possible.
And maybe I'll have a sleepover there.
Maybe.
Tonight.
Maybe.
You like having sleepovers over there?
Oh yeah, I do.
All right. Well, can you say bye to the camera?
Bye, camera.
Say
Bye, Josh.
See ya.
See you later.
What's up, dude?